Mingyu sat on the edge of Jungkook's bed, his fingers gripping the edge tightly, his jaw clenched as he stared blankly at the floor, his thoughts a storm of frustration and fear. The door opened and Nayeon walked in, carrying a glass of juice. She placed it on the table beside him, her eyes scanning his face. Nayeon, you look stressed. What happened at this time? Mingyu let out a heavy sigh, rubbing his temple. Taehyung, he still won't forgive me. Nayeon raised an eyebrow, sitting beside him on the bed, crossing one leg over another. So, what now? What if he refuses to marry you? Her tone was teasing, but there was a trace of curiosity. She genuinely asked, wanted to know for Mingyu would do. Mingyu turned his head sharply toward her. He won't refuse. I won't let him. Shankuk already too close to him. And I'm not going to let Jungkook win. Never. I will do whatever it takes to make sure Taehyung becomes mine, even if I have to force him. Neon smirked finally, faintly, as his words tilting her head. She reached out, brushing her finger along Menu's arm slowly. Oh, don't be tense, baby. You are burning yourself up. If you need to relive that race, you can use me instead. Her voice dropped to a whisper as her hand trailed up to his shoulder. He won't let you touch him, right? So, why not touch me? Mingyu turned to her, eyes flickering from her lips to her gaze, and then, without another word, he grabbed her wrist and pulled her closer. Mingyu, you really shouldn't tap me right now. Nayeon, but Nayeon only smiled, brushing her nose against his. Maybe that's exactly what you need. And before either them thought twice, Mingyu crashed his lips onto hers. It was wild, heated, reckless, their hands gripping each other tightly, lost in the showers of their own selflessness. That's when the door opened. Both froze, and in the doorway stood Taehyung, his eyes wide, his whole body trembling as he took in the scene. Mingyu and Nayeon kissing on Jungkook's bed. Behind him, Jungkook froze too, disbelief flashing across his face, quickly replaced by fury. Taehyung's voice came out small, broken. Mingyu? Taehyung stood frozen in the doorway, his hands still gripping the doorknob so tightly that his knuckles turned white. Taehyung, Mingyu? The two figures on the bed separated instantly. Nayeon gasped, pulling back and fixing her dress in panic, while Mingyu's eyes went wide. Jungkook, standing right behind Taehyung, felt the ground disappear beneath him. Taehyung, tell me I didn't just see that, he whispered, his voice trembling. Tell me this isn't what it looks like, Mingyu. Mingyu stumbled as though his spirit reaching out as to calm him. Tae, please, it's not what you think. I was upset and she was just trying to. But Jungkook was cut through the room like a blade. Don't you dare to lie again, Mingyu. Mingyu glares at him. Stay out of this, Jungkook. You have already caused it enough. Taehyung, shaking his head. Caused it enough? What? He didn't do this, Mingyu. You did. His eyes filled with tears, his voice breaking completely. You promised me it was misunderstanding last time. You made me believe you. Made me fight with him for you. I slapped him because I thought he was lying. His voice cracked on the last word. Shaku stepped forward slightly, standing beside him, his gaze fixed on Mingyu like fire. Jungkook, and this is how you prove your love by cheating on him in my room? Mingyu's jaw tightened, but he had two defense left. Taehyung tears fell freely now. He shook his head, taking a few steps back, his legs trembling. You disgust me, Mingyu. I trusted you more than anyone, and you made a joke out of it. Nayeon tried to speak, her voice trembling. I didn't mean. Jungkook coldly, shut up. His tone was sharp enough to make her flinch. Taehyung said slightly, his eyes unfocused, and Jungkook immediately reached out, steadying him. Jungkook softly, Tae, don't. He is not worth it. Let go. Taehyung blinked up at him through tears, his lips trembling. For a moment, he looked like the same small boy who once cried in Jungkook's arms a year ago. He nodded faintly, his voice barely above a whisper. Take me away from here, Cookie, please. Jungkook glared one last time at Mingyu, his voice low but deadly calm. If ever come near him again, stepbrother or not. I swear I will forget we share blood." With that, he wrapped his arm around Taehyung's shoulder, guiding him gently out of the room. Mingyu stood frozen, the weight of what he had done finally sinking in. The door closed behind them with a thud, leaving silence and guilt hanging in the air. His voice cracked before he could finish. Jungkook's chest clenched as he stepped closer, wrapping his arm around Taehyung before he collapsed. "Cook, don't look there," Jungkook whispered, his voice breaking too. "He doesn't deserve another chance of your tears." But Taehyung couldn't stop. He sobbed, "I hate him. I hate myself for ever loving him." Jungkook pulled him tighter, whispering, "Shh, breathe, baby, please. Breathe. I'm here." Taehyung's knees gave out, but Jungkook held on. Then suddenly Taehyung shoved him away. Don't try to fix me, Jungkook," he said, voice shaking, eyes distance. "I just need to be alone, please." Before Jungkook could stop him, Taehyung turned and ran out of the room, down the hallway, and out of the into the dark, rainy street. "Taehyung!" Jungkook screamed, sprinting after him, but Taehyung was already gone barefoot, running blindly, tears mixing with the rain, the world blurring around him, cars honking, light flashing, and still he ran. He chased her, his lungs burned, but he didn't care. All he could hear was Mingyu's voice echoing in his head, and Jungkook's desperate shouts fading behind him. Then the screech of the tire, the blind flash of headlight, the deafening crash. Jungkook's voice broke into a terrifying scream. "Taehyung!" He ran toward the sound, heart pounding, only to fall on his knees beside Taehyung's motionless body on the cold, wet ground. "Hey, no, 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 no. Taehyung, baby, open your eyes." Jungkook whispered, his voice trembling, his hands shaking as he cupid Taehyung's face. Blood trickling from his side of Taehyung's forehead. His lips parted slightly as he whispered faintly, "Cookie." And then his body went limp. Jungkook screamed through the night, a sound of pure agony. He held Taehyung's body tight against his chest, trying to into his ear. "Don't you dare to leave me, please," he whispered over and over as he heard siren. The smell of anticipating filled the air, the blinding white lights. Jungkook set out of the emergency room, drenching in rain, Taehyung's blood still on his trembling hand. His mind blank, his heart wouldn't stop racing. Every second that passed felt like an eternity. The door suddenly burst open. Mingyu and the both family rushed in, their faces pale with shock and fear. "Mrs. Kim, where is Taehyung? What happened?" she cried, clutching her husband's arm. Jungkook opened his mouth, but no words came out. His throat burned, his chest felt crushed. The doctor's words still echoed in his head. "Several head injury. We are doing everything we can." Mingyu was the first to break the silence. "What the hell happened, Jungkook? How could you let this happen? You were supposed to watch him." Jungkook's head snapped up. His eyes were red, dark, hollow. "What did you just say?" Mingyu stepped closer, guilt and anger mixing on his face. "If you hadn't interrupted, if you hadn't dragged him into your mess, maybe he wouldn't have." Before he could finish, Jungkook's face connected with his jaw. The sound of the punch echoed through the corridor. Everyone gasped. Nayeon screamed. Mrs. Kim clutched her mouth in horror. Mingyu stumbled back, blood trickling from his lip. Jungkook stood there, chest heaving, voice breaking with rage. "You have the nerve to blame me?" he shouted, pointing at him. "It all happened because of you, because of your lies, your selflessness." He saw you with her, Mingyu, on the bed. The entire hallway froze. Nayeon eyes widened, her face stained the color. Mrs. Kim's knees gave out. Mr. Kim held her steady. "Mrs. Kim, what are you saying?" she asked. Mingyu's face turned pale, his lips parting in shock, but no words came out. Jungkook's voice crashed as he continued, every word like a shattered glass. "He ran out because of you. He couldn't take it anymore. You broke him, and now he is lying in the fighting there for his life." The entire family stood in the stunned silence. Only the beeping of the monitor behind the ICU glass filled the happy air. Then suddenly Mr. Kim stepped forward, grabbing Jungkook's collar and slamming him against the wall. "What did you just say?" He growled, his voice cold and furious. How the hell my son ended up here? Jungkook's eyes filled with tears again. His voice came out broken because he saw something he shouldn't have and ran. I tried to stop him. I swear I tried. Mr. Kim gripped tightly, shaking him violently. You tried? You should have protected me, Jungkook. You should have near him, let him out of your sight. Jungkook didn't fight back. He just stood there, eyes wide, whispering, I know I feel it. Mrs. Kim cried harder, collapsing into the chair as Mingyu stood frozen, guilt written all over his face. The nurse suddenly rushed out of the ICU. Family of Kim Taehyung. Everyone turned it instantly. Jungkook's heart nearly stopped. The nurse hesitated. He is stable for now, but his condition is still critical. We need two person to sign the consent form for surgery. Jungkook took a deep step forward instantly, but Mr. Kim hand shot out, stopping him. No, you have done enough. Jungkook looked shattered as the older man walked past him into the ICU office to sign the papers. He could still hear the echo of his own voice trembling in his head. It all happened because of you. The atmosphere in the hospital was unbearably heavy. The family sat outside the ICU, eyes red, heart pounding, waiting for any word from the doctor. Mrs. Kim, her hands trembling, finally broke the suffocating silence. Jungkook, she whispered, her voice shaky. What really happened, son? Jungkook didn't respond at first. His gaze was fixed on the floor, first clenched so tightly that his knuckles turned white. Mrs. Kim, answer me. She cried louder this time, her voice cracking. Why is my son in there? What happened in between you three? Jungkook finally looked up, eyes sullen and glassy. It's because of Mingyu. He said, his tone low but trembling. Mingyu sitting across the corridor with Nayeon beside him flinched. What the hell do you mean? Because of me? He snapped, glaring. Don't you dare. Jungkook stood up abruptly, his voice booming through the hall. Because you cheated on him. Everyone froze. Mrs. Kim's eyes widened, her face turned off color. What did you just say? She whispered in disbelief. Mr. Kim frowned deeply, his voice tightening. Jungkook, don't say something so serious without proof. Jungkook, I'm not lying. Jungkook said, his voice desperate, his chest heavy. He was in my room with Nayeon. I went there with Taehyung and we both saw them kissing. All eyes turned to Mingyu and Nayeon. Nayeon's face went pale as she looked away, guilt clear in her expression. Mrs. Kim stood up slowly, shaking her head. No, this can't be true. Mingyu would never. You are mistaken, Jungkook. Jungkook, I wish I was mistaken, auntie. Jungkook said brokenly, but I saw it with my own eyes, and so did Taehyung. Mrs. Kim clutched her chest, staggering slightly as Mr. Kim caught her. Oh my god, she whispered, tears filling in her eyes. He saw that. Jungkook nodded weakly, his voice barely holding. He couldn't take it. He ran outside. I tried to stop him, I swear, but before he could reach him, the car hit him. A loud gasp escaped Mrs. Kim's lips. She covered her mouth, tears streaming freely down her face. No. Mingy stood up suddenly, voice shaking. He's lying. It's not what it looks like. Nayeon and I, we were just... Jungkook. Just what? Jungkook cut him off sharply, his tone raw with fury. Just playing around? You had your hands on her, your lips on her, in my room. Do you even hear yourself? Mr. Kim looked at Mingyu, disappointed and disgusted in his eyes. Mingyu, tell me this isn't true. Mingyu looked down, unable to meet his gaze. Silence speaks louder than any confession. Mr. Kim collapsed on the chair, sobbing uncontrollably. God, what have you done, Mingyu? Jungkook swallowed hard, voice cracking. He broke Taehyung heart right in front of me, and now he is fighting for his life because of it. No one could speak after that. The corridor fell silent again, except for Mrs. Kim muffled cries. Even Mingyu, for once, couldn't utter a word of defense, because deep down he knows Jungkook was right. Mr. Kim, Mingyu, how could you do that? Something like that. Mingyu flinched, his jaw tightening. I didn't do anything wrong. Mrs. Kim stood up, her eyes red from crying, voice trembling with despair. You still have the nerve to lie after everything Jungkook said, after what Taehyung saw with his own eyes. Mingyu shook his head furiously, voice cracking. He misunderstood. It's not like that, I swear. Jungkook, who had been standing at a distance with his fist clenched, finally lost his patience. He stormed toward Mingyu, grabbed his collar and punched his cheek hard, forcing him to look at. Stop lying. Jungkook yelled, his voice shaking. Just stop, Mingyu. You can fool anyone else, but not me. Mingyu tried to push him off, but Jungkook's eyes burned with fury. You think Taehyung would lie about this? He saw you. I saw you. You were with Nayeon on my bed. Mrs. Yeon gasped sharply and turned toward Nayeon, who stood frozen in guilt and shame. She walked toward her, grabbing her arm tightly and demanding, tell me, Nayeon, tell me the truth right now. Nayeon lips trembled, her eyes filled with tears as she glanced helplessly at Mingyu. She stammered, voice barely audible. Mrs. Yeon, say it. Mrs. Yeon snapped, shaking her arm. Finally, Nayeon broke down, tears spilling down her cheek. It's true. Everything he said is true. Mingyu and I, we were kissing. A stunning silence all over the hall, everyone in the place. Mrs. Yeon's hands flew across Nayeon's face with a sharp slap. The sound echoed against the hospital wall. Shameless girl, she screamed. Destroyed everything. Do you even realize what you have done? Nayeon cried harder, covering her face. But before Mrs. Yeon could scold her again, Mingyu stepped in front of her, protecting. He grabbed Nayeon's wrist, pulling her behind him, glaring at his mother. Don't touch her, he shouted. If you want to yell at me, not her. Mrs. Yeon's voice broke, with furious and heartbroken. I can't believe this. You betrayed your own brother, your fiance, your family, and now you are protecting the girl you cheated with. Mingyu clenched his fist, breathing heavily but couldn't say a word. Mr. Kim's disappointment filled the room like a shadow. I never thought I would see this day, he muttered, shaking his head. My son lying on the bed, my son lying to all of us, breaking his brother's trust and destroying Taehyung's life in one night. Jungkook looked at Mingyu with pure disbelief, voice barely steady. You are not just selfish, Mingyu, you are cruel. Mingyu turned his face away, eyes glassy, but said nothing. The family stood in silence. The only sound echoing down the hall was the faint beeping of machine from Taehyung's room, the painful reminder of the damage that couldn't be undone. Taehyung eyelids fluttered open, his head pounding, every nerve screaming in con- confusion. The first thing he saw was the warm hand holding his, firm, steady, and familiar. Jungkook, he croaked, his voice weak. Jungkook sitting right beside him, leaning closer, his eyes wide with disbelief. Hey, you are awake? Taehyung blinked around his room. Doctor, nurse, and the rest of the family were there, their faces a mix of concern and curiosity. Taehyung, who are all these people? Taehyung asked, his voice shaking. Where am I? You had an accident last night. You are safe now, but we need to rest. Taehyung's eyes flickered toward Mingyu, his brows furrowed, as if trying to please him. Who are you? Mingyu swallowed nervously, stepping closer. Tai, do you remember me? Mingyu tried to reach him. Taehyung looked at him blankly for the moment, then his hand jerked away sharply. No, I don't. Jungkook froze beside him, heart pounding. He hadn't expected this. Relief and despair washed over him. Taehyung didn't remember Mingyu at all. For a moment he thought this might be the clean slate, his chance of Taehyung to escape the betrayal completely. So he leaned back, giving Taehyung a little space, trying to hide his own trembling. But then Taehyung's gaze softened. Hey, he said quietly, looking directly at Jungkook. I remember you. Aren't you my fiance? Jungkook's eyes went wide, a mixture of shock and disbelief on his face. He hadn't expected Taehyung to remember him. Not after everything, not after the accident. For a few heartbeats, the words seemed to stop. Jungkook's lips trembled as he whispered, I'm right here, Tae. I never left. Taehyung's lips curved into a faint, tired smile. Reaching out of kissing Jungkook's hand gently. I'm glad you didn't leave me. Jungkook's chest touched, his eyes filled with tears, but he blinked them back. Instead, he leaned closer, whispering, I will never leave you there, never again. And in that moment, despite the chaos, the pain, the betrayal that had come before, they both knew They had found each other again. Mingyu, Tae, please remember me. Don't you remember? I'm Mingyu, your Taehyung's eyes shot open, his body trembling, his hand clenched into Jungkook's legs, pulling him closer as he buried his face in Jungkook's torso. No, I don't know. Who are you? He shouted, voice raw with emotion. Jungkook arm wrapped around him, holding him tightly, shielding him from Mingyu. His eyes burned as he glared at Mingyu. Don't you see? He is not in condition to deal with you right now. Get out. Taehyung picked from Jungkook's torso, tears streaming down his face. You are cook. You are Jungkook, right? My cook. Jungkook's lips covered into a gentle smile as he leaned down, pressing a soft kiss to Taehyung's temple. Yes, baby, I am your cook, your fiance. I am right here. Neon, standing a little away back, said, Yes, Tae, he is your fiance. Cook is your fiance. She said, still holding Mingyu's arm tightly. Taehyung's lips trembled as he looked fully at Jungkook. Tears streaming finally. Cook, cook. He whispered, his voice cracking as he buried his face into Jungkook's chest, sobbing. Jungkook cupid Taehyung's head gently, letting him cry into his torso, whispering softly as he pressed kisses on his hair. Yes, baby, it's okay. I'm right here. I'm not going anywhere. Let it out. Taehyung clung to him, letting every ounce of fear, pain, and confusion pour out, feeling safe in Jungkook's arms. Jungkook held him close, his own tears streaming to fail, but instead he whispered, You are mine, Tae. Always have been, always will be. Just breathe. I am here. For the first time since the accident, Taehyung felt a flicker of peace, and in that embrace, the shouts of the past days, the betrayal, the lies, all seemed to fade into nothing but the warmth of Jungkook's arm. The room fell into heavy silence. Taehyung remained curled against Jungkook's chest, shaking slightly as tears continued to stream down his face. Mrs. Kim's lips pressed together, her hands clasped in front of her as he watched. Taehyung clenched to Jungkook. I see. He trusts only you, Jungkook. Mr. Kim, arms crossed, nodding. It's clear whatever happened with you, Mingyu. He doesn't see him as his fiancé anymore. Not now, and not after this. Nayeon still holding Mingyu's arm, looking down in shame. Mingyu's shoulders slumped, guilt written all over his face. He opened his mouth, trying to speak, but no words came out. Mrs. Yeon stepped forward, looking sternly at Mingyu. Step aside, Mingyu. Let him rest. This isn't your moment. He only wants Jungkook right now. Mingyu's eyes filled between Taehyung and Jungkook. Panic and frustration mixing with guilt. Tae, please just listen. Taehyung buried his face deeper into Jungkook's chest. His small voice muffled. No, go away. I don't want to see you. Jungkook hand tightened gently over Taehyung's back, his gaze sharp as he looked at Mingyu. Do you hear him? He doesn't want you here. Not now, not ever. Mingyu's lips pressed together, defense as he finally stepped back, Nayeon following. The entire family shifted as well, giving Jungkook and Taehyung space. Mr. Kim sighed, resting head on Jungkook's shoulder. You have always been there for him, Jungkook. He knows who truly cares. Jungkook glanced down at Taehyung, brushing a damp hair from his forehead, pressing a gentle kiss there. He is safe now, Tae. No one will hurt you, I promise. Taehyung shifted, finally nodding slightly against Jungkook's chest. I am glad you are here, Cook. I missed you so much. Jungkook smiled softly, holding him closer. And I miss you too, baby. But I will never leave you again, never. The family quietly stepped back, giving them a space they needed. The reality finally sinking in. Taehyung only trusted Jungkook, and Mingyu's betrayal had burned that bridge forever. Next morning, Jungkook had been dozing in the chair beside Taehyung's bed, hand wrapped around thighs, refusing to leave. Then the door opened and doctor stepped in. Mr. John, could you please outside for a moment, please? Jungkook's eyes snapped open. He sat up immediately, voice that, Please, doctor, that's not necessary. You can do a shake-up right here. I'm not leaving Tae's side. The doctor folded the file in his hand and gave Jungkook an understanding look. I know you don't want to leave, and I respect that, but this is personal. I need a moment alone with the patient. He glanced toward the door. Will you step out, Mr. John? Taehyung tried tired eyes flickered to Jungkook and gave a smallest nod. Jungkook exhaled and stood. He leaned down, pressing a quick kiss to Tae's forehead and turned to left the room. The doctor closed the door gently behind him and still holding the file, moving to stand where Jungkook had been. He looked at Taehyung, one eyebrow lifted. So, Mr. Kim, can I ask you something straightforward? The note here don't match the story you have been telling. You said you couldn't remember anything, but the pattern says otherwise. Why did you act like you lost your memory? Taehyung and tightened around the shade, his swallowed eyes flashing with care. How do you know, doctor? The doctor gave a smallest half smile. I am a doctor, Mr. Kim. We see more than symptoms. Sometimes we read hesitations. The same way we read scan. Can you trust me? This stays between you and me, unless you tell me otherwise. Taehyung looked down at his fingers, ashamed. He hesitated. Please don't tell anyone. I don't want them to know it. Not now, please. He stares at doctor with pleading eyes. It started because of my fiance Mingyu cheated on me. The doctor face softened, but he didn't interrupt. Taehyung drew a shaky breath and continued. At first, I didn't believe my best friend Fanny told me. I defended Mingyu. His voice broke and swallowed hard. Then I saw him with Nayeon. I saw them kissing in Jungkook's room. I ran. I couldn't handle it. The doctor slowly listened like he had all the time in the world. And that is when the accident happened. Taehyung closed his eyes, the memory raw. Yes, I ran into the night. I didn't want to see him anymore. I wanted him to see me get hurt, to see me marry his brother and pretend everything was fine. I wanted him to be jealous. He opened his eyes, shame and something colder in his eyes. Not just jealous, I wanted revenge. Doctor, revenge is a dangerous thing, Mr. Kim. It can burn what it didn't mean to burn. Taehyung's fingers dug into the shade. It's not only revenge. It's about making him feel the same pain he gave me, and about giving Jungkook, my best friend, what he deserved for loving me all this time. He looked up for his said next word barely audible. For my love. The doctor was quiet for a long moment, then folded his file, closed it, and set it on the beside table, as if he laid out a word first between them. Outside the door, footsteps moved softly down the hall. Jungkook returning, probably unaware of how much just had been said. Everyone were in the villa. No one dared to speak first. Mrs. Kim sat on the sofa, clutching her hands together tightly. Mr. Kim stood near the window, brows furrowed, while Jungkook sat quietly on the other side, still shaken by everything that had happened. Mrs. Kim, slightly softly, the wedding was supposed to be tomorrow, but in this condition, how can we think about it? Mr. Kim, we will have to postpone it. Taehyung needs time recovery, physical and emotionally. Mingyu, stepping immediately. No, you can't postpone it. We have already made all the arrangements. The guests, the venue. Mrs. Yeon, cutting him off sharply. Enough, Mingyu. You think we care about decoration when Taehyung almost lost his life? Mingyu's jaw tightened. He looked down, fist clenching on his knees. Across from him, Jungkook's gaze stayed locked on, unmoving. Jungkook, maybe you should be more worried about why he ended up like that instead of when the wedding will happen. Mingyu glared up at him. Are you trying to make it sound like it's my fault again? Mr. Kim, because it is your fault. He slammed his palm on the table, making everyone flinch. You betrayed him and caused all this chaos, and you still have the audacity to talk about a wedding? Mingyu swallowed hard but didn't answer. His eyes darted between Jungkook, who was still sitting there, calm but dangerous like a storm. Mrs. Kim, for now the wedding is postponed until Taehyung recovery. No one will bring this topic up again. A silence followed. Then softly Jungkook said, what if he doesn't want to marry him anymore? Everyone turned to look at him. Mrs. Kim, Jungkook. But he didn't stop. You saw how he reacted. He doesn't remember Mingyu, and maybe that's for the best. He doesn't deserve to be reminded of something who broke him like that. Mingyu shot up from his seat, shouting, you are doing this on purpose. You are trying to take him away from me. Jungkook rose too, slow and steady. His voice dropped, calm but sharp as a blade. I don't need to take him away from you. You already lost him. Mingyu stood frozen, trembling with anger, while Jungkook simply turned and walked away, heading upstairs toward Taehyung's room. Mrs. Yeon grabbed her temple, whispering, God knows what's going to happen next. Mr. Kim exhaled deeply. No one. One thing for sure, this marriage can't happen. Not like this. The door opened suddenly and everyone turned back. There stood Tong, dressed in a simple hospital gown, a white bandage still wrapped around his forehead. But his smile was bright enough to make the whole room fall silence. Mrs. Kim, Tong, what are you doing here? Before anyone could move, Jungkook rushed forward, eyes wide. He quickly reached for Tong's hand. Tai, what are you doing here? You should be resting. The doctor behind them stepped forward, looking slightly nervous. He insisted on coming, said he was feeling lonely in the hospital room. The bite was bare too depressing. Jungkook gently guided him inside, making him sit on the sofa, still scolding softly. You could have told me. I would have stayed with you. Tong smiled sweetly. You were busy, right? Everyone has been busy preparing for the wedding. I didn't want to disturb anyone. That one word wedding made the entire room tense up. Mrs. Yeon and Mrs. Kim exchanged uneasy glances. Mr. Kim folded his arm, exhaling sharply. Mrs. Kim spoke up first. Tai, you are still not well, honey. We were thinking maybe we should postpone the wedding until you finally recover. Blinked in confusion. Postpone? Why? Mrs. Yeon. Because your health comes first here. The wedding can wait. Tong's bright smile faded and his eyes turned toward Jungkook, soft but questioning. Cook, you also want to postpone it? Jungkook hesitated, caught between the truth and Tong pleading gaze. He stuttered. I just think, but one look from Tong, those wide, innocent eyes that seemed to say, don't betray me too, stopped him mid-sentence. Jungkook, no, Jungkook said firmly, I don't want to postpone it. Tong's face lit up immediately. See, he said, clapping his hands together, grinning ear to ear. He doesn't want that, and I don't want that either. Then why postpone it? Mrs. Kim looked like she wanted to argue, but Tong's excitement was almost childlike, too fragile to break. Mr. Kim, Tong, the wedding is tomorrow, and we really don't think. Tong cut him off. The wedding will happen tomorrow. Am I right, Cook? Every eye turned to Jungkook again. He looked at Tong's face, his fingers trembling slightly as Tong reached for his hand. Jungkook swallowed hard and nodded. Yes, it will happen tomorrow. Tong smiles again, bright, victorious, completely unaware of the storm brewing behind every other pair of eyes in the room. Mingyu, standing silently in the corner, clenched his fist until his knuckles turned white. Tong noticed it, internally smirking. One by one, the family members excused themselves, giving the two some space. Mrs. Kim squeezed Tong's shoulder gently before leaving, and Mr. Kim gave Jungkook a long, unreadable look before following her. In a few quiet moments, the large living room was silent, just Tong and Jungkook, sitting alone on the couch. Tong leaned in slowly, resting his head against Jungkook's shoulder, his fingers curling around Jungkook's arm with both hands. It's strange comfort in the odd showers. You are so warm, Cook. Tong mumbled softly. It feels nice. Safe. Jungkook's heart fluttered at the word. Without thinking, he turned slightly, pressing a shocked kiss to Taehyung's temple. Tender, hesitant, filled with emotion he couldn't name. I love you, Tae. Jungkook whispered. Tong looked up at him, blinking slowly, his lips curled into a tiny pout. I love you too, Cook. For a moment, Jungkook froze, staring at those lips and trembling slightly, as if silently asking to be kissed. His heartbeat quickened. He wanted to, so badly, but then the thought struck him like lightning. What if he remembers everything? What if he hates me for this later? So instead of giving in to pull, Jungkook leaned forward and placed a soft kiss on Tong's cheek. Innocent, yet filled with all the affection he was holding back. Tong smiled faintly and snuggled closer, closing his eyes in peace. But before the doorway, hidden in the dim light, Mingyu stood watching, face clenched, his eyes burned with rage and jealousy, watching Jungkook's lips linger near Taehyung's face. His blood boiled at his side. Mingyu, muttering under his breath, "You will pay for this, Jungkook. You think you can steal what's mine? Let's see how long this fake love lasts." As if already having a plan to run this wedding.